Aging is not the beginning of decline. It is the awakening of a deeper, more powerful version of yourself that only life experience can shape. When many men cross the threshold of 60, they look in the mirror and see a version of themselves they barely recognize. Maybe their energy feels lower, maybe their body feels stiffer, maybe their confidence feels shaken. They begin to believe a silent lie society repeats, that getting older means getting weaker, slower, and less capable. But the truth is far more inspiring. Age is not your enemy. The mindset that comes with age is what determines the quality of the decades ahead. You don't become weaker at 60, you become more intentional. You don't lose potential, you gain clarity. You don't run out of strength, you simply stop wasting it on the wrong things. This is the season of life when you finally understand what matters and what never did. You see through distractions, you let go of ego-driven battles, and you begin to realize that the most important thing you can do from this point forward is honor the body that has carried you this far. Many men fall into the trap of thinking, this is just how it is now. They assume their health, their mobility, their energy, even their masculine sense of self will decline automatically. But decline is not the default, disconnection is. The body doesn't fail because of age. It fails because of neglect, hopelessness, or the belief that you no longer have power. But you do, you always have, you still do now. This chapter of your life demands a new level of ownership. The habits you create now matter more than any habits you built in your 20s or 30s. Back then, your body could overcompensate for your mistakes. Now, your body is honest. It reflects your choices with absolute clarity, not to punish you, but to guide you. Your body at 60 and beyond becomes your most truthful teacher. It tells you what it needs, what it no longer tolerates, and what truly supports its strength. This is not decline, this is wisdom. You must learn to rise to this wisdom. You must stop believing that age reduces your value or your strength. You must stop waiting for permission to take control. You are not too old to improve. You are not too old to build discipline. You are not too old to transform your habits and your health. In fact, you are in the perfect season to do it. You have maturity, patience, self-awareness, and the ability to focus on what truly matters. Those qualities give you a kind of power younger men simply do not have. Aging is the universe inviting you to be more deliberate, more consistent, more self-respecting, more aware of how precious your time and your body really are. There is no room for excuses here, because every choice has consequences and every habit has impact. But don't mistake this for limitation. This is responsibility. Responsibility is where real strength begins. Nothing about aging forces you to shrink your lifestyle, your goals, your confidence, or your masculinity. What you shrink is the noise. What you strengthen is your discipline. And that discipline becomes your new youth, not the reckless energy of a younger man, but the grounded power of a man who knows exactly who he is and exactly what he still has left to give. Age doesn't take your strength away. It demands that you meet your strength with intention. And the men who rise to that challenge become ageless, powerful, and unstoppable in ways they never imagined. When you're ready, say key point 2, and I'll expand the next one. Your body has never stopped working for you. Not for one day, not for 1 hour, not for one heartbeat. It has carried you through every season of your life, every joy, every stress, every responsibility, every challenge. And even now, at 60 and beyond, your body is not giving up on you. It is asking for your partnership. It is asking for your attention. It is asking for your participation in your own well-being. Too many men misunderstand aging. They think their body starts resisting them, when in truth, the body is simply responding to the signals it receives every single day. It doesn't rebel, it adapts, it adjusts, it mirrors your habits, your choices, and your lifestyle with incredible accuracy. The problem is that many men interpret these adjustments as deterioration. They believe their body is betraying them, slowing down or breaking down. But the body is far more loyal than that. It is communicating. It is saying, I will support you, but I need you to support me too. Your body is not the enemy. It is a partner that has been waiting decades for you to treat it like an ally instead of a machine. When you begin to understand this, everything changes. You stop seeing your aches, your stiffness, or your lower energy as signs of weakness. You start seeing them as signals, messages that your body has been whispering for years, messages saying, help me help you, messages saying, you still have time to rise again, messages saying, you are not finished yet, your body wants to heal, it wants to function well, it wants to feel strong. But it cannot do that without your involvement. That is the truth men often overlook. Your body works best when you work with it. When you move it, when you nourish it, when you rest it, when you calm your mind, when you reduce the chaos you've allowed to accumulate inside your nervous system. When you give your body the basic conditions it needs to operate smoothly, it responds beautifully, not because of youth, but because of consistency. That is the miracle of the human body. It never stops adapting. No matter your age, your body is constantly adjusting, responding, recalibrating, and trying to support your life. And the moment you begin to participate daily, even in small ways, you unleash a version of yourself you may have forgotten existed. Not the young man who relied on natural energy, but the mature man who relies on discipline, self-awareness, and intentional action. What men must understand is this: your body behaves according to the patterns you create. If you feed it chaos, it becomes chaotic. If you feed it stillness, it becomes steady. If you feed it neglect, it responds with fatigue. If you feed it respect, it responds with strength. The body is always listening, always responding, always adjusting, and that means you are not powerless. You are influential. You always have been. This is why your daily habits matter so much, not because of dramatic overnight transformation, but because of accumulated impact. A small choice today becomes your strength tomorrow. A daily discipline becomes your foundation. A single adjustment becomes a ripple that touches every part of your well-being. Your body is capable, it is resilient, it is responsive, and it wants to carry you into the next decades of your life with vitality. It just cannot do it alone, but the moment you begin to partner with it, you will discover something extraordinary. Age does not stop your body from improving. Only neglect does, and reclaiming your power begins the moment you decide to support the body that has supported you from the very beginning. Movement is not just something you do. It is a declaration of who you are. It is a message you send to your body that says, I am still here. I still choose to engage with life. I still claim my strength. Too many men cross 60 and begin shrinking their movement, shrinking their energy, shrinking their presence. But the truth is, the less you move, the smaller your world becomes. The more you move, the more alive you feel. Movement is not optional. It is foundational to a man's vitality, confidence, and sense of purpose. It's easy to underestimate everyday movement. When you were younger, you didn't think about it at all. You ran, lifted, climbed, worked, strained, sweated, and lived in motion without effort or awareness. But with age, movement becomes intentional. It becomes something you choose not for vanity or athletic goals, but for ownership of your life. Every stretch, every step, every intentional moment of physical activity is an act of reclaiming your body from the grip of stillness and stagnation. Men often say, my body feels stiff, or I don't move like I used to. But the truth is, the body stiffens when movement decreases, not the other way around. Your body is not rejecting movement, it is waiting for it. It is waiting to be reminded that it still has flexibility, still has strength, still has power. Your joints do not crave rest, they crave use. Your muscles do not want to weaken, they want to activate. Your lungs do not want shallow breaths, they want full, deliberate oxygen. Movement is the ritual that tells your body, I still need you to perform. You don't need extreme workouts or grueling routines. You don't need to become an athlete overnight. You simply need daily, consistent movement that opens your body, wakes up your circulation, engages your muscles, and keeps your internal systems flowing. When a man walks with intention, he is not just exercising, he is aligning his mind and body. When he stretches, he reconnects with the parts of himself he has ignored. When he breathes deeply while moving, he resets his stress, his tension, and his sense of control. Movement also carries emotional power. When you move, you shift more than your physical state, you shift your energy, your mood, your confidence. A man who sits still too long becomes trapped in his own head. Worry grows, tension grows, a sense of heaviness grows. But the moment you move, whether you walk, stretch, or breathe, your mind follows, your thoughts clear. Your stress lowers, your confidence rises, your body and mind communicate, and movement becomes the bridge between clarity and confusion. As men age, one of the greatest dangers is believing that slowing down is natural. It is not natural, it is optional. You can choose momentum over stagnation. You can choose engagement over withdrawal. You can choose power over passivity. Every day you move, even in small ways, you reinforce the belief that you are still strong, still capable, and still in command of your life. Movement is not about youth. It is about intention. When a man in his 60s moves daily, he unlocks a sense of vitality many younger men never achieve. Because his movement is not accidental, it is purposeful, it is disciplined, it is driven by self-respect. Your body is not too old to respond, it is waiting, and the moment you show it consistency, it will reward you with stability, energy, strength, and confidence. Movement is your first line of power and prevention, not because of how it changes your body, but because of how it changes your identity. When you move, you remind yourself that you are not done. You are still in motion. You are still in the fight. You are still alive. When men cross the age of 60, one of the biggest battles they silently fight is inflammation. It sneaks into the body slowly, often disguised as stiffness, fatigue, digestive issues, or that frustrating feeling of being slowed down. But what most men don't realize is that inflammation is also one of the hidden drivers behind prostate enlargement. The body is sending out little alarm signals saying, something isn't right, something needs attention. And when we ignore inflammation, when we brush it off as just aging, the prostate responds by swelling, tightening, and putting pressure on the very parts of life that matter most. But here's the good news. Unlike your genetics, unlike your past decisions, and unlike the clock that keeps moving, inflammation is something you can influence every single day. Your choices, your habits, your routines, they either feed inflammation or fight it. And let me be very clear, you do not need perfect discipline, fancy supplements, or extreme routines to turn this around. You need consistency, awareness, and a willingness to listen to your body with more respect than you ever have before. Because your body has been working for you for 6 decades. It's carried you through stress, work, responsibilities, heartbreaks, victories, and life's unpredictable storms. Now it's asking you to return the favor. When inflammation rises, your prostate becomes more sensitive, more reactive, and less able to regulate itself. That means more frequent urination, weaker flow, nighttime interruptions, and a lingering sense that you're no longer in control. Many men accept this decline as normal. They believe it's just part of getting older, but that is not the truth. Age may change the body, but inflammation is a condition, and conditions can be improved. Your daily habits are powerful enough to calm the body at its deepest levels. A simple adjustment in what you eat can either ignite inflammation or extinguish it. Foods high in sugar, processed oils, excessive red meat, and alcohol stoke the flames of inflammation. It's not about never enjoying the foods you love. It's about being honest with yourself about what those foods are doing to you. Every meal is a message to your body. Every bite is either supporting your prostate or stressing it. And when you begin choosing anti-inflammatory foods, berries, leafy greens, tomatoes, nuts, seeds, fish rich in omega-3s, movement is another powerful weapon against inflammation. Not intense workouts, not punishing gym sessions, just simple, intentional movement. Walking, stretching, light resistance training. When you move your body, you improve circulation, reduce tension, and allow your prostate tissues to receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to function properly. Inflammation thrives in stagnation. It weakens when you move. Hydration plays an enormous role too. Dehydration thickens your blood, slows your metabolism, and forces your prostate to work harder. Water is not just a drink, it's a cleansing system. It helps flush toxins that contribute to inflammation. When you hydrate consistently, your prostate breathes easier. And then there's stress, a silent amplifier of inflammation. Most men don't recognize how deeply stress affects their prostate. Chronic stress releases cortisol, which increases inflammation throughout the body. Learning to breathe deeply, slow your thoughts, and create moments of calm is not weakness, it is control. It is strength. It is the decision to protect your health instead of reacting to your stress. When men over 60 commit to lowering inflammation, even in small steps, their prostate responds. It softens, it shrinks, it calms. And most importantly, it returns a sense of freedom from discomfort, from embarrassment, from worry, from the feeling that their best physical years are behind them. Your prostate is not the problem, inflammation is, and every single day you have the power to change that. One of the most overlooked truths for men over 60 is that hormonal balance is not just a young man's concern. Your hormones do not retire. They do not stop influencing your energy, your mood, your strength, or your prostate just because you've hit a certain age. In fact, hormonal balance becomes even more important as you get older. When your hormones drift out of alignment, especially testosterone and estrogen, it creates a chain reaction inside the body that directly affects your prostate. Many men don't realize that as testosterone naturally declines with age, their body compensates by converting more of that remaining testosterone into estrogen through an enzyme called aromatase. And when estrogen rises, the prostate begins to enlarge, not because your body is failing you, but because your hormonal system is desperately trying to find balance. Understanding this isn't about fear. It's about empowerment. You cannot fix what you do not acknowledge. And the moment you understand that hormonal imbalance is a major piece of the prostate puzzle, your path to healing becomes clearer. Hormonal health is not just about testosterone boosters or medications. It is about how you live, how you rest, how you fuel your body, and how you manage your internal world. The first thing men must recognize is that chronic stress is the silent thief of testosterone. Every moment you operate in fight or flight mode, your body diverts resources away from hormone production. It's as if your body says, "We are in survival mode, not growth mode." And when testosterone drops because stress is running the show, prostate enlargement tends to follow. That's why incorporating simple stress, reducing habits, slow breathing, evening walks, mindful routines, unplugging from endless noise becomes a form of self-protection. You're not just calming your mind, you are restoring the hormonal stability your body is craving. Sleep is another powerful pillar in this process. Most men undervalue it. They think 4 or 5 hours is enough, or they assume poor sleep is just a part of getting older. But deep sleep is where your hormones are repaired, regulated, and produced. It's where your prostate receives the rest it needs. When you start honoring your sleep, whether it's through healthier evening habits, reducing screen time, or maintaining a consistent bedtime, you're not just resting, you're rebuilding your hormonal foundation. Then there is the lifestyle factor that men often underestimate: muscle. As you age, your body naturally loses muscle mass. and that muscle loss directly impacts hormone production. Testosterone thrives in an environment of strength. You do not need heavy weightlifting or intense gym sessions. Simple resistance exercises, even done at home, signal your body to maintain and rebuild muscle. When you strengthen your muscles, you strengthen your hormones. And when your hormones strengthen, your prostate often responds by easing, shrinking, and becoming less reactive. Your nutrition also plays a major role in this hormonal equation. Certain foods increase estrogen dominance, processed sugars, excess alcohol, refined carbohydrates, and foods high in chemical additives. Others support testosterone production, rich foods, healthy fats, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, and foods that naturally regulate estrogen. When you choose foods that support hormonal balance, you're choosing a future where your prostate is healthier and your body feels more aligned. And finally, what many men fail to recognize is that hormonal balance is also emotional balance. When your hormones are stable, you think clearer, you feel more confident, you respond rather than react, and your body operates with a sense of harmony. When your hormones are imbalanced, everything feels off physically, mentally, and emotionally. You deserve to feel aligned. You deserve to feel strong again, and that begins with honoring your hormones, not ignoring them. Hormonal balance is not optional, it is essential, and taking control of it can be one of the greatest gifts you give your prostate, your health, and your life. The strongest message I want every man over 60 to understand is this: your prostate health is not just about what you do today, but what you commit to doing consistently. Daily habits are powerful because they reshape your biology in small, steady ways that turn into major improvements over time. And the men who win this battle, the ones who shrink their prostate naturally, restore their energy, regain control over their bathroom habits, and improve their quality of life, are not the men who occasionally try something. They are the men who stay consistent. Consistency is the quiet force that transforms your health from the inside out. When you perform the right habits every single day, your prostate begins to feel supported rather than attacked. Inflammation begins to calm, hormonal balance begins to shift, blood flow begins to improve, the internal pressure that has been weighing on you, physically and mentally, slowly starts to release. But this only happens when you remain committed. The body is not a machine that changes overnight. It responds to repetition, rhythm, and routine. Think of your prostate like a garden. You cannot water it one day, ignore it the next, and expect it to flourish. It thrives when you nurture it consistently, and your health works exactly the same way. Many men make the mistake of looking for quick fixes. They want a supplement to do all the work, a pill to reverse years of imbalance, or a sudden change that requires no long-term effort. But that mindset keeps men stuck. Supplements can help, but they cannot replace the power of daily behavior. The truth is, small habits practiced consistently outperform big changes practiced inconsistently. A 10-minute walk done every single day is more powerful than a 1-hour workout done once in a while. A commitment to anti-inflammatory foods every day is more impactful than an occasional week of healthy eating. Choosing to breathe deeply, sleep properly, move regularly, hydrate adequately, these are not small things. These are the building blocks of a healthy prostate and a healthy life. There is something deeply motivating about knowing that your body is always listening. Every choice you make communicates a message. When you choose movement, you tell your body, I want strength. When you choose fiber-rich foods, you say, I want balance. When you choose rest,